fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage on.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Baradelli and Russ Gallo.
And you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Baradelli here with you on a beautiful summer evening here in the People's Republic of New York City. Letting you know we got a great show for you tonight. Coming up on the show, Dan Gainor from Newsbusters and Media Research Center. We talk a little bit about what we'll be talking about all evening, and that is the, I don't want to say presumptive win of Hillary Clinton. I think that's dumb, okay? Because when we get into it, this win was picked all along, not by the voters, not by you out there, but by the media elite and the leadership, the 1%, if you will, of the Democratic Party. We'll get into that a whole bunch with Dan during the show, and we'll also start sizing up the main event of the evening, or the year, as it were. We're talking about the battle between the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, and the, I guess we'll say presumptive, whatever, the preordained nominee of the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton. Let me tell you something, folks. I think we all knew this was coming for a couple months now, but someone should have let Bernie Sanders know this was coming because, you know, as we tape this show, there's still some primaries out there left to be won. But I guess the media and the Democratic Party, they can't be bothered with such trivial things as elections. They can't be bothered with the will of the people. Say what you want about the Republican process and the 15,284 candidates that ran within it. But the people's voice was heard loud and clear. It may not be the voice that the so-called establishment wing of the party wanted to hear. It may not be the nominee that mainstream Republicans and establishment Republicans, whatever you want to call them, what those people wanted to hear. But it was done by election. It was done through a primary system where votes actually mattered. Not so on the Democratic side. I'm saying it right now. And I will go on record by going to goonrecord.com during the show when the interview with Dan Gainor is being broadcast. And I will say that this year, this election cycle for the Democrats, the Democratic Party preordained their pick and created a self-fulfilling prophecy. And no one decided to tell Bernie Sanders whatsoever. Hillary Clinton makes history, apparently. If you ask the AP, if you ask MSDNC, if you ask any of the other mainstream outlets, George Stephanopoulos is basically doing a tap dance on air. Hillary Clinton makes history as the first presidential nominee to be female from a major party. That little caveat has to be there because us history buffs will remember that there was an Equal Rights Party nominee named Victoria Woodhull. You want to talk about historic. This was a woman who went out there and basically bucked the entire system, stating that women are the equals of men. This is back in the 1870s. Women are the equals of men before the law, are equal in all their rights. Direct quote from her, if you believe Wikipedia, which I tend to do. In the same year, you had Frederick Douglass running for president. We're talking about 1872. That's historic. That is people in a time when there weren't equal rights. When you just had a full generation since, well, not even a full generation, of women being lower than men. With black people being lower than human. And there are people running for president and trying to make a statement out there. You know, and I guess that's where I guess Bernie Sanders is a winner. Yeah, you heard me say it. Bernie Sanders may be considered a winner because, while he knew it was probably a losing proposition, he created the conversation within his own party of what the values of that party are. Now, those of us on the outside looking in, nobody really cares on our side what they're thinking about. We all know that it's all socialism. We all know that it's all about the greater good of the group and individuals be damned. We all know that it takes a village from their side to raise a child, where on our side it takes a family. We know all that. But when you compare prior elections and real historical value, what is really the historical value of Hillary Clinton being handed the nomination? And make no mistake, she was handed the nomination. Let's run through some numbers together, folks. With 6 primaries left to go, as they are being tabulated during the live broadcast of this show here on Spreaker, Hillary Clinton has 1,812 pledged delegates, and Bernie Sanders has 1,520 pledged delegates. That is pretty tight when you consider how close Ted Cruz was when he decided to suspend his campaign. But here is where media and political 1% step in. The media, a day before the largest primary in the Union, the California primary, goes out and says, well, if you take the pledged delegate count plus the pledged superdelegates, those are the party elite, the party leaders, the elected officials that are all against basically Bernie Sanders. I would dare say 90% of them are pledged to Hillary Clinton, and the numbers bear that out. 572 superdelegates plus 1,812 pledged delegates gives Hillary Clinton the magic number she needs to break that 2383 threshold that the Democrats have set for their nominee, based on their primary system. So if you're Bernie Sanders right now, or if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, what the hell was this process all about that started back basically in October of last year? This whole primary process, what did it actually mean to you? Well, here's what it meant. And let's be honest and straightforward about it. It meant nothing. The nominee was already chosen. The deck was stacked. The field wasn't level. Everything was against you, Bernie Sanders, from the jump. The party was never going to let you win, no matter what. And the media, by extension, wasn't going to let you win. How many calls this week have we seen from the Washington Post on down demanding that Bernie Sanders quit the race? Now listen, I'm no friend of Bernie Sanders, but I am a friend of fair process. And this whole superdelegate situation, obviously it skews the votes tremendously. It's been one of those stacked decks that you expect from a Clinton campaign. It's just, it's I don't even know what it is. It's not democracy, I know that for sure. Is it deck rigging? Is it unleveling the playing field? That's the only thing I can think of. It's rigged. It's a rigged system. I'll go as far as say that. It's rigged for the House to win. The House being the DNC. Now, superdelegates is bad enough as it is. But when you have media saying the election's over, we have a presumptive nominee, and you have 6 states going to vote the next day. And we're not talking about small states, we're talking about large, huge states. California, New Jersey. Did Bernie Sanders really make people very upset to the point where they got nervous about whether Hillary Clinton was going to win? Absolutely. And that's why the party is lining up. Make no mistake, this is a get-in-line vote for Hillary Clinton. Nobody likes Hillary Clinton. Nobody on our end likes Hillary Clinton. We know that much for sure. But let's face it, Hillary despite all her scandals and everything, is the party pick, the establishment pick, the status quo pick. That is what the Democrats have been doing this whole time. Gonna grab some comments from our chat room right now. During our live shows, Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker, we run a chat room where I sometimes borrow some comments from the chat room and from our people in there. And we got a little bit of a lively chat. I got some birthday wishes in there. My birthday is this week, and it's actually as we're broadcasting live, so thank you very much for remembering that. 38 years old, and still trucking, thank goodness. So I appreciate being called a young man. Knowing what is said, that they're already showing delegates for Hillary, I love the nickname there of Dano, before there were even any voting started in the primaries. Yeah, I mean, that's what's really sad. I got another comment saying that Joe Biden is kicking himself for not running. Oh, you gotta definitely think that. If you were a candidate with any type of name recognition, if you were, I would even say John Kerry. I would say Joe Biden. I would say just about any Democrat of note out there. You're kicking yourself square in the pants because you didn't think Hillary was beatable. You were just letting the coronation go by, letting the parade go by. But Bernie Sanders, and you know what, give him credit, you may not agree with him. Bernie Sanders is the example of the candidate with no chance that creates a movement more so than creates an electoral win. There is now a wing of the party, a Bernie Sanders wing of the party, that has to be loud at this convention. I mean, listen, if you go by straight election results, and we recounted how many states in a row Bernie won throughout the primary process, and all that, and how we were making fun how the DNC rules were redistributing his wins. He would win a state, but he'd only get half the delegates because they were redistributed out from him. Isn't that the ultimate irony for socialism in America, folks? Bernie Sanders has created a movement, and I don't know exactly what the convention for the DNC is going to look like. Look, I think we know that there will be a hectic convention, maybe not as much as we initially thought, for the Republicans. Now, the Democrats are going to be walking in, and they may not be unified themselves. Bernie Sanders is the ultimate Democrat kingmaker right now. If he chooses to unify the party, we'll see if the couch will beat Hillary, with all these young people and their energy not going anywhere. I mean, West Virginia, a lot of people said, I think it was to the tune of 60% of Bernie supporters said that they'll go support Trump, which is amazing in and of itself, right? It goes to show you that the Bernie Sanders movement is not so much ideologically far left as it is as frustrated with government as the Tea Party and the grassroots right is. That is significant for any establishment candidate like Hillary to worry about. On the Democratic side, they'll just stay home. They won't show up. On the Republican side, they'll show up in droves to stop the establishment from winning again. Donald Trump has tapped into something on that Republican side, and we'll get into that a little later in the show. But, man, oh man, if you're Bernie Sanders, you gotta be pitching a fit. Pitching a fit at the media, pitching a fit at your own party leadership, because you had something transformative going on, and they pulled the rug out from under you in the name of establishment politics. It's crazy, folks. Listen, we got a lot of show to talk about. I do want to get into, before we play our interview with Dan Gainor, a little bit of this media bias that we're going to be talking about. As we see in comments, oh, by the way, he's a communist, Bernie Sanders. Yes, he is. I'm not doubting that. Listen, I'm not a Bernie Sanders lover, but what I am saying is, when someone puts themselves out there and gets that kind of traction nationally, it can't be ignored. And it looks like the Democrats rigged the game against those people. And I would love to see those people stay home and watch Donald Trump become the next president of the United States. It would serve them all right in the Democratic Party for